All right. Welcome to the Unicorn After Dark. We're not only talking about all things independent comics, but everything comics. I'm Mikey.
I'm Seamus.
And today, people, we're back at it again with episode 27 of the Unicorn After Dark. And yeah, obviously from the timer that we just made last minute, we are going to be talking about, of course, the recent now MCU film, Deadpool and Wolverine. And yeah, people, I'm excited. And Rebecca, Seamus, thanks you again for joining me. Obviously, because we said we were going to do this on Monday when we did our last podcast. Yeah, watched it last night. Well, not last night, yesterday. Rebecca, I believe you watched it yesterday as well. Seamus saw it way earlier than we did. But yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about it. But yeah, people, we'll just off rip. We'll just get right into it. So to start off, Rebecca and Seamus, what were your thoughts going into the movie? Because I know me and Rebecca did a reaction with Earning the Bird Without Fear for like the first trailer, and then I know that me and Seamus did one for the second one. But yeah, so what are your thoughts going into the movie before it dropped?
I mean, like, when you list Shawn Levy as a director, it doesn't exactly inspire confidence in your movie. And when you got Zeb Wells on the writing staff, that doesn't help either. So I was kind of going into this movie expecting a bad movie, but a fun experience.
Okay. All right, Rebecca?
I was expecting it to be fun, pretty much on par with the other Deadpool movies. I was expecting Hugh Jackman to phone it in way more than he actually did in this movie. But it kind of ended up lining up with my expectations, I would say.
Okay. I mean, yeah, for me, it is. I thought it going into it, I was definitely excited for it. Because I was mostly intrigued was that it was a Marvel Studios film, so I was like, they might undercut it. They might undercut it and like Disney-fied up, because now obviously what makes Deadpool is the crude humor, the violence, all that other fun stuff. So I was apprehensive, but they said, nah, like we're gonna do it how we always do. We're not gonna hold back at all. So that was great. And then obviously watching the trailers, and obviously we reacted to both trailers together. I was very excited because it was the same old formula that they've done. Granted, yeah, like what Seamus said earlier, Shawn Levy directing. I was like, because I didn't, because the movies after Deadpool I thought were like kind of well, except for like Free Guy. I thought Free Guy was like honestly was kind of great, but I didn't really watch like the Adam Project and like that. So, but I digress. But obviously Hugh Jackman coming back to reprise World War Me again after he said he wasn't going to come back after Logan. So I was like, I was very I was very intrigued, but also I was like, how is the story going to work now, weaving Deadpool into the MCU, and what that's going to entail for the rest of the MCU going forward with him. But yeah, that's pretty much what I thought beforehand. I was optimistic, but like just more so curious. More so curious. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. But any more thoughts? We move on to now like the non-spoiler section.
I'm good. Nope.
All right. So yeah, Rebecca, Seamus, what were your So now we watched the film. Obviously, of course, we watched the movie. And what were your like thoughts about it overall? And obviously, it's going to be the non-spoiler portion of it.
I think certainly the quality of filmmaking is not as good as the first two. I think as a film, this specific one is rough. It's about as rough as you would get from like a Quantum Mania or a Marvels in terms of just like, it's not the story. If you look at the story itself, if you look at the actual quality of the filmmaking, it's not up to par of what we used to be seeing from the MCU. But this is a movie that is kind of primarily built off like gimmicks. You know what I mean? Like I'm not there for they try to market it as you're not really here for the quality of the filmmaking. You're here because we're showing you Deadpool and Wolverine together for like 2 hours, and you get to see all these cameos. And to me personally, it did work in that respect. I was sports entertained. I did have fun with it. I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. And the jokes did land for the most part. But I think that it definitely feels like somewhat of a slight step down from the first two Deadpool movies, in my opinion. Like the first two, I would give like a 4.5 maybe. But this one I think on Letterboxd I gave it like a 3.5, and I was like, despite the movie's best efforts, I did have fun with it. So I think it's still worth seeing. You'll still have fun with it, but you definitely will notice there's a bit of a quality drop off from the first two.
All right, fair enough. Rebecca?
Yeah, I can't really speak too much to the quality of the filmmaking. I know nowadays, like Seamus was saying, everything's filmed on the big stage they have instead of like real sets. But that I know it bothers some people. I didn't think the CGI was. I mean, there's moments where it's like bad, but it's not horrible. I think this is the definition of a popcorn flick. Just shut up and eat your popcorn and have fun with the movie. Don't think about it too hard. In that respect, it's been a long time since I've rewatched either of the earlier Deadpool movies, and I like those movies. I just haven't seen them in a while. So it's a little hard for me to compare. I think I don't like this as much as I liked two. And it's been so long since I've seen the first one, I can't even really place it. But I feel like my biggest problem overall with these movies, and again, this isn't what they're trying to do, but it feels like Deadpool never really grows in any of these movies. I feel like he has kind of the same arc in each of them.
I agree with that because like I feel like we have been through the "you're not a hero" Deadpool, and then at the end he becomes a hero like 3 times at this point. You know what I mean? And I understand that is kind of his character, but I feel like you could extend off of that. You know what I mean? Because at least in the first one, it was Deadpool can't even save anyone, and then at the end he saves his girlfriend. And then the second one, it was Deadpool can't even work on a team, and then he forms his own team. And then this one, it was back to square one, where it was like, no, Deadpool can't save the world, actually. You know what I mean? And you're like, well, he can. We saw him save people. I don't know what you're talking about at this point, but... And it felt very much like they didn't have any other ideas for a plot, and they kind of rested upon the cameo and fun aspect of the movie to kind of carry the plot forward, even though they were kind of just, you know what I mean? They had like a vague idea of like, oh, Cassandra Nova wants to, I think, destroy a timeline, which makes her happy or something, but also like the TVA guy wants to destroy the timeline as well because he's tired of it. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it all felt very much like they didn't really have a good idea of where to go with it.
Yeah. I don't think they were really trying to have anything too big for this either, though. Like, I sound like I'm shit-talking the movie, but I had fun watching it. I'm just not sure how much I'd enjoy it on a rewatch. I'd probably still enjoy it. It probably won't hit the same.
I will shit talk it a little bit because I do find that it is depressing that they obviously didn't have a good enough idea to bring in anyone from the first 2 movies. Like Colossus got 0 lines. He got 1 line about the Great British Bake Off. Sorry, and then Negasonic Teenage Warhead and Yukio got like 1 silly clip, and then Deadpool brought back all the X-Force in the last movie just for them to not be able to get back Josh Brolin or Zazie Beetz or anyone from that. So it was literally just Shatterstar they brought back. So it made it look like he only saved Shatterstar. And I'm like, okay, what the fuck? And then they completely forego Deadpool's like group that they set up at the end of the last movie to be like, anyway, he's with Wolverine now. We're gonna just like incept in your minds that he actually has always cared about Wolverine and not just that he made 2 fourth wall breaking jokes in the last movie about it, you know? So I'm like, I'm entertained, but I am a little like, this is the straw for me. This is it for me. If they try to do this again, I'm going to be pissed. I'm going to be done with it.
Yeah. I mean, for me, like I did feel like, after, because again, I was drinking the froth and not the coffee a lot during this movie, but after I watched it, I did realize, like plot was like fairly just simple and like it's pretty much a redundant thing with Deadpool, where like you said, Seamus, like he tries to save the he realizes, oh, Deadpool can't really save the world, and then the next one is like, oh, like Deadpool's trying to work on a team, and then now with this one, it's pretty much the mix of both of those previous plots. And I'm just like, yeah, and like I wish there was more dialogue with like some of the other characters we saw previously, because like we only got some stuff with like the birthday party, and like Vanessa and Peter had like the most lines, and and Blind Out obviously, and like the most jokes. But I wish we did get to see more of like Colossus for a brief second, for a little bit more, or like I wish they had Zazie Beetz as Domino, and like Cable coming back. Like that would have been cool to see, because they just completely ignore that, and I was like, I would have liked to see a little bit of that.
And those are like the cameos I would have really cared to have seen, because they're actual characters that are important to the Deadpool movies. And to see all those characters like Colossus just get shoved to the side for all these cameos, it does feel just like a little tiring to be like, oh cool, so everything I just watched doesn't mean anything if you're able to get a bunch of big budget cameos, you know what I mean? So it was a little like, you couldn't have thrown Colossus with Deadpool and Wolverine and had those three walk around, because that would have been funny. Really? Yeah.
I mean, we saw where this movie's budget went.
That's true.
It definitely didn't go towards any of the effects. It was probably just the casting.
I also did realize, like some of the effects were a bit choppy. I mean, like, I'm in terms of like the VFX for like the stuff with the void and stuff, I'm pretty sure they shot that like outside, like practically.
Which is weird that they shot some of that practically, but like they couldn't have like Deadpool's dance number in the intro be practically shot. Like it had to be on a full green screen set. And I'm like, okay, very weird choices being made here.
But yeah, besides that, like just a simple plot, and like even with Wolverine's arc, like I mean, I wish they kind of like showed more than told with him in terms of like his backstory and like what happened with his world, and which we'll go into that later. When we do the character breakdown. But besides that, I mean, I thought this movie was very fun. Like I was super entertained the entire time. A lot of the jokes hit. A lot of like action scenes were most of them were like really good. Like I said, one of the action scenes during the last part of the movie, like kind of was jarring a little bit. I'll get into that later, but I thought the action was great. I thought the cameos and appearances that we did get were a lot of fun, and again we'll talk about that later. But I generally was entertained. The entire time. Granted, there were plot issues, there were character issues that I was like, this could have been fleshed out a bit more with the writing. But I had so much fun. I was having a blast. That's how I felt about it. But yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was cool. I mean, but yeah, I do wish that now I'm going around the table. I do not like the fact that they kind of did ignore some of the stuff from like the character stuff from the last movie. Or what happened to Fire Fist? Like what happened to the kid who tried to save the entirety of Deadpool 2 and you completely just like ignore? He was not to be found. He ignored the crap out of him. Like
I said, don't worry about it. Just do your
job. and like Vanessa got like 2 lines, and it was like, oh, okay, man. I mean, if that's like, I feel like it was so fucking stupid that Peter got way more lines. I love Rob Delaney as an actor. He's funny, but like, does his character really need to get more lines than like the major characters who had kind of carried the franchise alongside Deadpool in the past?
That was strange. And the thing is, like, how, like, one of my friends, the homie I went to watch this with, he asked me, is like, how would this rank in terms of like all of the MCU movies that you've seen? And I was literally just like, I told him it's like, it's not, I think it's good, but like it's not like in my top 5 like best MCU movies ever. Like this movie was good and it was really fun, but like it is one of the more, it's slightly good. It's like slightly.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably just above the middle ground for me of MCU movies, because like they used to be able to get me excited about like random characters. You know what I mean? Like they used to get me fucking hype about Valkyrie, You know what I mean? And now I can only get kind of hyped for like these major characters that cameo in this because it's only like they've done that. It's like this is like a well-tread path at this point to do these cameos. You're never hitting the same level of like exhilaration as seeing Tom Holland like shake hands with Andrew Garfield and Toby ever again, because you're gonna bring all these guys in Infinity War, or I mean in Secret War, and you're gonna be like, I've seen this like 8 times already. Like this isn't anything new to me, you know? So I feel like this is why this one's gonna be the last cameo thing I think I can handle, where I can ignore the movie being bad for the cameos for me.
I think too, even though this is like the biggest Deadpool movie in scope, it feels like weirdly self-contained, and I think that's probably for the better. You know, like I don't want it to have big implications to the MCU. It already has enough of those.
I totally agree. I think that's at least a strong suit of the movie, because I feel like Deadpool always works best when he is in his own little world that's able to poke fun at other, you know what I mean? When his solo outings are just him poking fun at other stuff while also remaining very much in his own area. And then when you get the big like crossover movies, then it's a little sillier because you don't usually get to see him in that context. So I do agree with that, at least.
And that's kind of what I appreciated the most. Like, yeah, even though they do, it is tied to the MCU, and there's obviously MCU references and stuff like that, and then MCU characters coming into it, it did still feel just like another like, you know, like self-contained like Deadpool adventure, just with, you know, Wolverine added onto it, which I really appreciated that for. It didn't have to go too crazy into like, oh, like Deadpool's gonna be in this and this in the Marvel universe in the next like few years, or like this has an implication.
I don't have to go home and listen to like 20 fucking guys talk about how the Time Ripper is going to be essential to the next 4 years of MCU.
Exactly, like the Time Ripper.
Well, you might. I'm sorry to announce, you might have to.
Like there's stuff in this story that is just for this story, and I really appreciated that, and that's why I was like, yeah, like that's why that's what made me enjoy it a lot, was the fact that it was very self-contained. But yeah, I mean, any other thoughts before we move on to like now the nitty-gritty stuff, the spoiler stuff?
Nope.
Yeah, I think we've given them enough of a chance. I think we can't say anything else. I can't say anything else that's non-spoiler, because everything else that's great about this movie.
It's the cameo movie. You can't spoil the cameo.
That's true. But yeah, people. So that's pretty much it for all the non-spoiler stuff. And as per usual, I'm going to put on the banner so that you know, hey, we're about to get into spoiler territory. So, all right. So I'm just gonna put on the little banner, the little video, in 3, 2, 1. All right. So now, spoiler territory now. And this is pretty much the part where, you know, we're pretty much gonna go to the breakdown. But first, I wanted to talk about one of my favorite parts of the movie, and me and Seamus actually talked about this yesterday when I was coming back with like pure excitement and joy. But I wanted to talk real quick about the introduction, like the intro of the movie, like the first like 30 minutes. I'm even though, yeah, like this movie has its issues and obviously, but it was super entertaining, the fact that like this is probably one of my most favorite introductions to a Deadpool film I think I've ever seen. I thought this was hilarious. So pretty much it's just Deadpool going to Logan's grave from, you know, Logan, where, you know, X-23 and the other Super Niños buried him in the woods. He digs him up and like is surrounded by TVA agents, decides to beat the shit out and to kill all of them, desecrating Wolverine's adamantium corpse and using it as weapons while dancing to NSYNC. It was hilarious. It was so fucking funny, and props to because I know this wasn't Ryan Reynolds, or whoever was the dancing double who did this shit, killed it. Like he did the choreography perfectly, and I was like, yes, it was hilarious, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah, what were your thoughts on this part of the first part of the movie, guys?
I think the first 30 minutes had me sold. I think the first 30 minutes is really solid because I do think Ryan Reynolds doing all those interviews talking about how they're going to respect Logan in the ending of Logan, and then immediately desecrating his grave is a very funny bit.
Mhm.
I think him meeting Happy and trying to get on the Avengers right before Infinity War happens was also funny. Um,
Mhm.
I think that was a very solid bit. I always like seeing Jon Favreau as Happy. Yeah, and I thought it was a very strong opening, especially when he's meeting like Matthew McFayden's paradox and everything. Like just
Yeah.
before he starts going to the void and trying to time travel and stuff, I was like, yeah, wait, I'm on board with this. All the jokes are hitting. Everything looks pretty fun. The opening fight scene with the dance is like my favorite MCU scene in ever since Endgame happened. Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed the first 30 minutes at least.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, I didn't add the Happy. I forgot to put that image in the find an image of Happy and put it in here. But I really did enjoy the Happy like
Yeah,
Hogan interview. It was really fun, and it kind of like it had a little bit of heart to it, because Deadpool's
yeah.
trying to find an identity with himself. Like he
Uh,
thinks that him being on a team is gonna make him feel better about himself, and make himself matter. And I thought that was really cool. Kind of like a somewhat heartfelt moment, and also like the jokes of like why is Happy interviewing people for the Avengers when Happy's just the chauffeur. I thought that was hilarious.
mhm.
Yeah, that part was
I liked how the picture of Tony and Peter that was on Happy's desk covered Peter, so you couldn't see him.
yeah. it was it had the helmet, right? A little like the helmet
Yeah,
that quote unquote Peter
because
wore. And,
everyone I saw on Twitter, everyone was like, oh, it's because Doctor Strange used the spell that covered Peter, and I'm like, no, it's because Sony doesn't want Spider-Man in any other movie other than a Spider-Man movie or an
Spider-Man.
Avengers movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, but yeah, Rebecca, you have any thoughts on like on the opening of the movie?
Yeah, I thought it was fun. I had a thought and I just forgot it. I was gonna say, I think the opening gives you like just enough plot to, kick it off. This makes no pretenses of like, you know what you're here for, you know what you're getting into. It, like we keep saying, it's not trying to be super strong plot or characterized. It's just supposed to be a fun ride, and I think you
Mm-hmm.
get that in the intro.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Um, I know some of it. I know parts of it was kind of weird because like the fact that he was able to break off the adamantium off the adamantium bones so easily, and I was like, is adamantium supposed to be like unbreakable? Whatever. It's supposed to be fun. Like it's
There's
just
no joints. He shouldn't be held together anyway.
yeah. But yeah, man, and it's Daredevil. I say Daredevil. My bad. Deadpool murdering TVA agents and making all these references and shit. It was so fun. I had great. It was so good. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say on that. It was a very disrespectful to Logan, but it was worth it. It was worth it in my opinion. Any more thoughts before we move on to the character breakdown?
Nope.
Oh,
Right.
all right. So to start off with our first character, we're talking about obviously the main character, which is gonna be none other than Deadpool, aka Wade Wilson, played by Ryan Reynolds. And the thing is, and what I did for the breakdown for the most part with the images is just most of the big parts with Deadpool was just like the stuff him trying to save the Fox, this version of the Fox universe from dying, and protecting his loved ones, because obviously his loved ones are important to him, his friends and family, and obviously trying to find his purpose and try to find his something that he wants to matter. I thought that aspect, those 2 points, even though some of it is kind of rehashed, was really cool to see, and again, and kind of had a little bit of heart to it, and I really enjoyed that. And I mean, obviously it's Ryan Reynolds, doing what Ryan Reynolds best is, coming in with the humor and with the jokes. Like I thought the jokes in here were, I think some of the jokes, a good amount of the jokes were like some of the funniest jokes they've done he's done in the series. Like when he meets Paradox and then he talks about how he's like Marvel Jesus and shit. And then the moment he gets so excited, he walks away from Paradox, grabs the camera, and is like, haha, take that, Sony. I'm going to Disneyland. Shh, get fucked. I died. I thought it was so fucking funny. But yeah, it was a lot of really fun moments like that. And obviously his banter with Logan and with Hugh Jackman, I thought was so great. And it's just like, yeah, like this is the team up that we wanted, and it's working so well because they're bouncing off of each other, doing the dialogues and the humor so well. And yeah, that's my open things to start off with. I don't know. I'll let you, either you or Seamus or Rebecca, you can continue the conversation.
Yeah, like I was saying, I feel like we don't really get anything new from Deadpool here, but I like him in the other movies, so I like him here, and I think he's still fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that definitely there's no arc for him in this movie. He doesn't learn anything. He doesn't grow. But that's kind of like the point with Deadpool. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's not really he's supposed to have moments where he shows change, and you can tell that there's something deeper than just him being annoying. And I think we got like one or two of those this movie. But yeah, for the most part, he's not really like supposed to be anything other than Deadpool, which is fine.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, and it was like that's why I was like, yeah, even though the plot's simple, I mean, that's kind of what I expected from the Deadpool movie, like because even the plots in the previous movies were, you know, kind of grounded and low key and just simple, but yeah, I mean, and that's what you said. That's kind of the nature of Deadpool. Deadpool is the same character he's always been for ever since he's been created, but he always, you know, has those little ounce instances of change and instances where you realize, oh yeah, he's actually like not just an annoying asshole. He actually has a heart and all that stuff. So I was cool. I really did.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, there wasn't a lot of it in here, but like
I was gonna say the same thing. Where like I feel like we didn't get as many moments where he shows that he's deeper than being Deadpool in this movie, and the moments that we did get felt kind of very half-assed. Where he tries to give like a "You're Wolverine" speech, and then that's kind of it. And I'm like, I didn't really believe that, but whatever, you know.
Mm-hmm. What's it like? Y'all have any like favorite jokes he said? I mean, I already said mine was the Fox one. That one had me crying.
my favorite one of the entire movie was when he said, I hold here the head of your Queen Furiosa, and I was like, all right, we're back. That's why I was saying I think the Marvel Jesus joke would have worked way better if he said, I am the Lisan Al Gaib, and I would have been like, all right, we're cooking here, we're cooking a little bit, but no, couldn't do that.
Oh man, Rebecca, what about you? If you can think.
I'm trying to think of one. I feel like the ones that made me laugh the most were like the settler ones that I can't remember now that I'm trying to think about it. I did like the bit, which spoiler for the end credits, where he's like shit talking what another character says, and then it goes back to the end and shows that was true. I thought that one was funny.
Oh god, it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was a good after credit scene. I was like, oh, it finally is like an after. This after credit scene was as funny as the Captain America one from Spider-Man: Homecoming, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. It was I think it was like a lot of the my other favorite jokes are involving all the other cameo characters. So obviously we're gonna mention that as well. But yeah, I mean overall, like Deadpool, Ryan Reynolds. To be listening, he did what Ryan Reynolds does best, and that's all I could ask for. And yeah, and again, even though you know his arc was pretty much the same arc he's been on, it still was really fun, and it was. I enjoyed it a lot. So very entertaining as usual. But yeah, is that it? You want to move on to the next character?
Yeah. I think we've covered that Ryan Reynolds is annoying enough here.
Yeah. But the next character, who I think it was one of the highlights, obviously, is none other than your boy, Wolverine, played by Hugh Jackman, the great Hugh Jackman, and
great Hugh Jackman.
Huge. Listen, man. But first off, rip, the fact that we are seeing Hugh Jackman at his peak of Wolveriness with the costume, he looked amazing. It took me a while because it was just like when Deadpool, when he made the joke, it's like, it took you 20 years to even wear this. I'm just like, sometimes I was having moments where like, I can't believe I'm actually looking at Hugh Jackman wearing an accurate Wolverine outfit, like in this movie. Like I thought he looked incredible, and obviously, clearly, like towards the end when they save the world and we see this man shirtless, this man did not skip the gym at all in his age. At his age right now, Jesus Christ!
They're forcing this pure
use his dad bod for one scene.
Yeah, they're forcing this 50-year-old to be on so many performance-enhancing drugs that I think it might kill him soon. He's taking all these roids just to fund his next musical adaptation. Poor dude.
Oh man, but he looked great, and obviously seeing him with the at the end with the mask on and how great the mask looked, I was like, I can't. This is too much. This is too much. God damn it. But besides that, I did again. He kind of suffers from the same character thing with Deadpool, where it's like there's not really much with this Logan besides like obviously they acknowledge that he is the worst Wolverine in the multiverse, and
he suffers from the fact that they already used their worst Wolverine backstory in Logan to do that movie. You know what I mean? Because they didn't want to have him be mind controlled and kill the entire X-Men again. So instead, he's the worst because he let the X-Men die and then killed a bunch of innocent people in anger. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but like you already kind of used your big one on Logan, which worked really well in that movie, and now you're just like, oh no, he just like killed innocent people, and I'm like, let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck about faceless innocent people dying. That doesn't make me think he's terrible. What makes me thought he was terrible was when they were like, yeah, dude, he gutted Rogue, like, and she was trying to like help him, and I'm like, yeah, that makes me think he's a total dick who's irredeemable. But you know, that's just a consequence of them making a better movie with that story. So,
I mean, and the thing is, and I wish. Because when we were going into more of his backstory, I wish they had like the budget to like show not tell to see like Wolverine come back to like all the X-Men dead, or like see him going on a bloodthirsty.
Yeah, like it's almost like those. It's almost like those would have been the cameos that would have enhanced the actual story of the film that they were telling. If you actually did have cameos from all the original X-Men, but it was like they're, you know what I mean, them as corpses, or like Wolverine holding like a gutted like Scott as he's like, why weren't you here, Logan? You know what I mean? Shit like that would have been like, oh, it's a cameo, but also this is like important to see for Wolverine's character arc. And that's why I think maybe it's just, I don't know, it's just my issues with like the way that the story in this movie was done. I love Hugh Jackman. He gives such a good performance, and it you know what I mean? He knocks it out of the park for a character who, for all intents and purposes, is coming back for no reason other than, hey, we need to make money. You know what I mean? So he really gave it his all, and that's why I'm like, I can't be mad at Hugh Jackman coming back because he cooked here, and it was good. At least you know what I mean? That whole scene where he's in the Honda Odyssey with Deadpool, and he starts just like fucking being so mean to him. I was like, oh wow, this is going back to like
movie.
Yeah, this is like he's going back to Hugh Jackman in Prisoners type anger. I like that shit, but yeah, he was great in the movie as Hugh Jackman normally is. But again, it's just an issue of the writing that makes his character kind of, you know what I mean, not really as deep as maybe he could have been.
Yeah, I'm conflicted on this. I think part of me is like, I don't think the backstory really matters that much. Like, it would have enhanced the story to see more of it and flesh him out. But I think ultimately it's just the justification for having, angst, well, slightly more than usual angsty Wolverine. I think looking at the arc as a whole, the main problem I have with it is bridging that gap between I'm angsty, I don't want to be here, and actually I want to sacrifice myself for like Deadpool's world. I think especially at the point where they're like storming Cassandra Nova's like palace, whatever it is. I think they needed to show, and this might go back to Deadpool a little more, him like doing something nice that makes Wolverine go, this guy might be worth doing something for, you know?
Yeah. And they just had that one scene with X-23 by the fire, and that was like it. It was like, okay, I got told I was good at some point by someone I don't know, so now I'm gonna be good. And it's like, all right, I don't know how well that works personally for me, but you know,
I
that's
think
that's
it's
the,
one of those things where like he was always good deep down. He just needs to like remember it, you know?
Exactly.
yeah. But I'm saying my issue with that is just that it's a consequence of the writing. That it's just like I feel like there are multiple stronger ways that could have been portrayed than having a, you know what I mean, just like a normal scene by a fire where he's like, I'm not a hero, and she's like, well, you saved me, and then he's like, and that's it. And I'm like, all right, that works, but like I'm sure you could have thought of a better way to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one more thing to say.
Mhm.
Spoilers for the cameo characters, but we're in spoilers territory, so I'm just gonna say it now. He should have been a lot more excited about seeing Gambit.
Yeah, and that also was weird that he was just like, I don't really give a fuck. And I'm like, oh, but like the point of having these cameos is that I get to see you give a fuck. What the hell, dude?
Granted, I mean, people could probably make the excuse say like it's not his Gambit, but like still, I think that would have been a cool moment to have.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like if you're gonna have another X-Men in here who would possibly have a connection with, not that Gambit's in, you know, the Fox movies.
He's only in Origins.
That's true. Dude, it would have been hilarious to see Taylor Kitsch's Gambit again.
No,
like,
dude, I would have killed myself on the spot if I saw that. I would have been like, all right,
bro.
it's over. Listen, I
brilliant
already had enough of like Vietnam flashbacks seeing Blob. I don't need Taylor Kitsch, Will I Am showing up in this fucking thing.
True. Real quick, man. Shout out to Alec. He's watching this. He said Hugh Jackman giving a rage-filled monologue to Deadpool, followed by what constituted to angry sex between the two was peak cinema. And he's like, that's one of the things I want to talk about real quick. Is just like I loved every time Logan and Wade fought each other because I thought it was so much fun to see like how like creative they were with the choreography. Because when I saw Wolverine fucking bear crawl like a fucking, did you see? Remember that when he was literally just like bear crawling? I was like, bruh, what? But I thought like them fighting each other was really like it was giving like bromance. It was giving heavy bromance, and it was just really fun to see. And like obviously like because like these are two violent characters and they would obviously communicate their issues with each other through violence, and I was like, I loved that. I thought that was really fun in terms of like, you know, I guess in terms of like the plot and all that. But
yeah, it did lead to like the best action scene in the movie. So I agree.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, man. I mean, overall, Hugh Jackman. I mean, all he had to do was just like aim for the middle, and then he went above and beyond. I think which made it a plus for me. I really enjoyed having him back. We're obviously gonna talk more about him again when it comes to like the cameos and the Easter eggs. But yeah, man, it was dope. I really liked Hugh Jackman in this, even though again his story. I feel like his storyline and his backstory and his development could have been, you know, fleshed out a bit more with the writing, which again it is the general problem with this movie. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like the problem when you have like as soon as I saw they had in the credits, they had like what like 7 people as written. You know what I mean? Doing the screenplay, I was like, oh, holy shit, what the hell? You don't need that many people writing this thing. It's Deadpool. Like, just make 4 meta jokes and have some heartfelt moments. Why do we need 8 people writing this?
Yeah, but yeah. Any more thoughts on Hugh Jackman before we move on to the next character?
He's pretty huge. I'm good.
Yeah. All right. So the next character we got here is one of the antagonists of the movie, which is Mr. Paradox, played by Matthew McFayden. And question, this for Seamus mostly because I know he's in Succession. Seamus, you're a huge Succession fan. So what was it like seeing him transition to the MCU as a rogue TVA member?
It was incredible because he just basically played a more he basically did play slightly more emotional version of his character on Succession, which was great to see. Because I was always a big Tom Wambsgans guy on Succession, so I'm very glad to see that he kind of just did what he was known for on Succession in this, which was saying a bunch of very descriptive words in a very flowery way that made it hilarious. You know what I mean? Like he's sitting there, he's like, "Of course, I'm going to ruin your timeline," and I was like, "That is an incredible line reading." I don't think anyone else could have done it like that, but I think he was arguably the funniest part of the movie for me.
A sequel to Succession.
I would have been convinced if you were like, no, he's playing Tom Wambsgans again. Like this is TVA agent Wambsgans. But no, yeah, he was the funniest part of the movie for me. I thought his line delivery was insane, wasn't it?
Oh, it was wild. It was wild as fuck.
It was so abusive.
Yeah, I saw it with my brother and my friend, and we every time no one else was laughing at his lines, but us three were like, "Holy shit!" The way he turns and goes, "You're so abusive of your timeline." I was like, "That's incredible." Please, I need more of him in any other movie. Make him the main TVA agent. I don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah, man. No, I thought like him just being like just a homicidal maniac just for no reason. I thought it was so funny. I'm just like, yeah, like it was like before the TVA we used to be able to prune these problems, but the new TVA doesn't like doing this anymore. But I do. I like mercy killings, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I like how he was like a homicidal maniac purely for convenience. Like he just hated how he was so inconvenienced for having to wait for the timeline to die that he was like, I can't do it. I can't wait. I must build a time killer. I'm so tired. And I'm like, this is gold right here. They've struck gold with him.
The least unhinged office worker.
Yeah, he's so. I think it just goes to show they got to start casting more actors who are willing to chew the scenery like this and just be like, yeah, I'm gonna overact the shit out of it for pure comedy. Because I think that's what's gonna save the MCU is Matthew McFayden.
Matthew McFayden, that's all we need. And honestly, him and also his banter with with Wade and with Wolverine, it enticed me. Like, yeah, I should really start watching Succession and listen to Seamus after the past 2 years he's been telling me to watch it.
Yup.
Oh man, but yeah, and also like his the fact that he is our connection to the TVA, I thought was really cool. It's just because I love the TVA and from Loki and all that. So to see that even though they reformed the TVA, it's still not. They still got some homicidal maniacs still there. So
yeah, they still got some crazies. I'm okay with that. I get them not. Listen, I get them not referencing more from Loki, but I kind of was like, really? Like, we're not gonna have a little more? Like, I know they had what's her name from the show up, which I'm, you know what I mean, I'm fine with, but it is like a little really, we couldn't have had a little. We got a Scarlet Witch statue, but we couldn't have gotten a Loki mention at all. You know?
That's true. Yeah, that's true. I was honestly surprised that I was expecting Loki to kind of. I was hoping Loki would be in here at least not show up, but at least see on the TV screen on the TVA him in the chair, holding
or
multiverse together.
Yeah, at least give me Owen Wilson. Come on, you're not going to cast Owen Wilson in a comedy movie? What the fuck are we doing?
Yeah, man. But yeah, listen. Overall, Mr. Paradox he was a very fun character. Especially
do not get it twisted. Matthew McFayden is the best part of this movie. I don't care what anyone says.
I mean, yeah, that's your opinion, but
that's the truth. I'm sorry,
but I enjoyed him, especially when he deals with Cassandra. Oh, that shit was hilarious. He tried to talk his way out of he tried to justify what he did to B-15, and she was like, "No, stop it." That was good. But yeah. Any more thoughts on Mr. Paradox before we move on to the next character? I think the last character. Well,
yeah,
the last main character I got.
Watch Succession. Bump those numbers up.
Fair enough. All right. So the next character we're talking about is the main antagonist of the film, which is none other than Cassandra Nova, played by Emma Corrin. And yeah, I mean when she was cast, and obviously when we she was revealed to be Cassandra Nova when we watched the second trailer, Seamus. I didn't really know Emma Corrin in much. All I knew from her was that she was I know she was in Pennyworth because I used to watch Pennyworth and I thought she was great.
Yeah, I remember her from Pennyworth.
And then she was, I didn't watch the show, but I know her, one of her more breakout roles was that she was young Princess Diana in The Crown in like one of the seasons.
She was great in The Crown too.
Yeah, so from going off of that, I was very intrigued to see how she was going to do Cassandra Nova. And this was a character that like I knew who she was, I know she existed, but like I didn't really know much about the character because again, I didn't really read a lot of Grant Morrison's new X-Men. But this being my intro to the character, I was like, damn, I didn't know. I was telling you, Seamus, like when we were talking yesterday, I was like, I didn't know Cassandra Nova was going like this hard with her powers. Like I didn't realize it was that OP, and I was like, holy crap, because she like I don't know. They said that she's like she's like kind of like another like kind of alternate like another like powerful like pseudo telepath, but like
she's basically like. She's like Chuck without a conscience, which is pretty fun to see usually. And I did like how they took her because there's one panel in the comics where she does kill a dude by phasing her hand through his head, and it does like that. And I kind of like how they took that and were like, okay, but like, what if that's how she actually like is able to do her telepathy stuff? And I thought that was like a really cool visual change, and it was probably the coolest effect in the movie just to see her fingers like running through people's heads and faces, and I was like, ooh, I don't like that. That was gross. Yeah, but I loved it.
But like, and the thing is, right? Like, I was watching an interview with Emma with some of the cast members during Comic-Con, and Emma Corrin was told revealed that like she had to wear prosthetic fingers to make her fingers like extra extra long to make that effect look more creepy and more gross. And I was like, that it was effective. And like when I watched the movie, because I was wondering like, why the hell are her fingers just this abnormally longer than like for no reason. And then they showed us like, oh yeah, that's why. Okay, that's disgusting. But yeah, no, I thought she was funny. She was intimidating. She was obviously like psychotic and like maniacal. The fact that they kind of revealed, like, for people that don't know, Cassandra Nova is the twin of Charles Xavier. That, like, again, she was trying to choke him out in the womb with her umbilical cord. That was the only thing I really knew about her before the movie came out. And the fact that like they kind of did the thing where I thought was really interesting, where because she was so powerful that the moment she was born, the TVA scooped her and put her into the void. And I was like, that's a really cool way to tie into why she's here and why she, like, even though she knows Charles, obviously, because it's with her enhanced telepathy, she obviously can remember him because she tried to kill him in the womb. But like the fact that like kind of the reason why she is is evil as she is, because she was practically raised. She practically grew up in the void. The void is her home, and I love that. I love how like she embraced that, and like how Alioth was, how she was feeding Alioth to people and shit. I thought it was crazy. But yeah, Cassandra Nova was I thought was awesome, and just seeing her do her thing, and obviously towards the end she tried to like blow up the universe. I honestly didn't think that she would have that big of a role as I expected her to have. I thought she was going to be another like cameo-esque, like with a good amount of screen time and then bounce. But nah, she was pretty much the main antagonist from the one we see her to the end of the movie, and I was like, and Emma Corrin killed it. So yeah. Rebecca, you got anything to say on Cassandra Nova?
Yeah, I thought she was a lot of fun to watch. I think she did a good job. I just wish for the finale that she did more, like had an actual fight instead of just like holding on to the MacGuffin and they blow it up at the end.
Yeah, and her making an O face when she was enjoying that energy really made me uncomfortable. I was like, this is she's enjoying this shit too much, and I was like, all right, but yeah, I mean, and when you look at, I mean, granted, again, her character is pretty like standard villain arc, obviously, but like I did like those little details they added to her character. I thought made her very interesting and very just like intriguing. So and she killed it, man. She killed it. And also like I love the fact that when she was about to like when she was about to like die after like Pyro was trying to kill her. I like how like it took Logan to remind her of like the importance of Charles Xavier and like to the X-Men and to mutant kind, and the fact that if he did know, and because of all how altruistic Charles is, if he did know she existed, he would have went after her, and that kind of like snapped her back a little bit, back to like her wherever deep where her humanity is deep down in her twisted heart. I like that a lot.
Yeah, I like that moment.
And it also showed how like the impact of Charles Xavier on in this Wolverine's journey, or just Wolverine in general, to the character. So I really did like that a lot. But yeah, I mean that's all I gotta say. I thought she was great, and I thought she was a lot of fun. And yeah, those fingers, man, so nasty. Like you did good, Shawn Levy, in the costume and makeup team, because that shit was gross. And the effects, it was gross. And yeah, it's kind of motivated me a little bit to like read some finally get into the new X-Men, because that is a quintessential run that Seamus also doesn't shut up about. So
yo sir.
All right, any more thoughts on Cassandra Mobile before we go on to now the more fun part of the movie, which is the cameos? Nah. All right, so yeah, people. So we're gonna move on to now the best part of the movie, and which technically is more character stuff. But we're gonna go towards like the cameos and Easter eggs of the film that were involved in it. I got a lot to talk about. But first things first, I'm kind of gonna go in order with what we saw. But actually, the first thing that we saw that was an homage I'm gonna take that towards the end actually. But this one mostly, which was one of the most fun things I've seen I thought was really fun in the movie, was the Wolverine montage that we got. So there's a scene where Deadpool, once he decides to take matters in his own hands and save his universe and find a new Wolverine, a new anchor being, which again, I don't know if we talked about the whole anchor being thing. I kind of like that idea where it's like a person so
I hate it.
You didn't like that?
I think it's so stupid because retroactively, so Logan was an anchor being, but Logan technically didn't happen in that X-Men's universe. So I don't know how Deadpool's timeline could be like coming apart if the Logan that died was not the Logan from Logan. Do you know what I mean? Like his Wolverine should, for all intents and purposes, still be alive because Logan is not what happened in the main X-Men universe. And I think it's just stupid that every universe now has one being that if they die, the timeline gets unraveled. Because I mean, my brother brought up a good point where he was like, okay, so like why wasn't the timeline unraveling before Logan died? Or I mean, before Logan was born? And so what happens if he dies like of natural causes? Does the timeline just end there? And like, if
Seamus, you're thinking about this more than the writers did.
Yeah. No, I'm not because Kevin Feige said that anchor beings are going to be important going forward. And he's like, there is an anchor being in the main MCU. And I'm like, wouldn't that have been fucking Iron Man? Don't you think that would have been Iron Man if you're going to make it anyone? You know what I mean?
I heard that people, like, there's the talks that people say, oh, it's probably Spider-Man, but like Spider-Man's like, not. Remember, Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man. I don't think they want that. Like,
yes, that's what I said. That's literally what I said to you. Where I was like, why was it gonna be Spider-Man if they don't even own the fucking rights to Spider-Man fully to be able to use him in any solo movies? You know? So that's why I agree with you, Rebecca, where I would have been like, whatever, it's a plot point for the movie. But seeing Kevin Feige give an interview at Comic-Con where he was like, no, yeah, I'm so glad you're thinking more about anchor beings because they're important. I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. This was supposed to be a silly little plot point to get Wolverine in the movie. And now I got to fucking worry about it with Robert Downey Jr. Doom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. But yeah. So anchor beings, no, got it. But yeah, all right. So now Wolverine shit, clearly. So one of the first ones we got, the first two we got were scenes where Deadpool ends up meeting a Logan, but it is it's comic accurate Short King Wolverine, which had me dying. I was like,
that was good.
He's so cute. It's so funny. It's just like he's like, and honestly, I don't think he was actually 5'3". It was they were exaggerating. Obviously, he was a lot shorter than he's supposed to be, but it made for the joke, which was great. The other one, which had me excited as well, was seeing like Wolverine in the John Byrne brown and yellow suit, which I thought would look amazing. I wish that was the suit kind of what we got for the rest of the movie after we saw it. I was like, damn it! But like, and then seeing him do the iconic homage cover of him about to fight Hulk from the McFarlane cover, I was like, this is hard. Oh, this is so dope. But yeah, any thoughts on these real quick or not?
I like the short Wolverine bit. It was a fun sequence. I don't really have too much to say about it outside that.
Yeah, right. Like I like short Wolverine. I like John Byrne Wolverine. I like Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. I like X-Men number 251 Wolverine. I like Henry Cavill Wolverine. It was like just a silly. It was a silly little montage that was like, hey guys, we read comics. Don't worry. And I was like, all right, they got me. I liked it.
Yeah, like what Seamus said, X-Men 251 Wolverine. I thought, which I didn't know. I didn't realize what it was at first. I was like, wait, what is that? Then I realized, oh wait, this is a cover that I know is important. And then I went back to oh wait, it's this Mark Silvestri cover from like the 80s. I was like, damn. And it did it perfectly. Like they had the lighting perfect and like all the red bloody skulls everywhere. And I was like, I thought it was hard. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah, we got another version of like kind of like accurate Old Man Logan with the cowboy hat. I thought it was really dope. Like what Shaman said, Patch showing up, I thought was really cool. With the poker table and the eye patch and the suit, that was really awesome. Age of Apocalypse Wolverine was like my favorite. I didn't think in my lifetime I would see like a comic Hugh Jackman in a comic accurate Age of Apocalypse outfit with the severed hand and the full on like bigger Wolverine hair. I thought that was dope. I was like, that was really fun.
It was very funny. Because like the whole joke of that montage was that, hey, Hugh Jackman never really did anything comic accurate, so we're about to give you rapid fire comic accuracy for the next 5 minutes. And I was like, all right, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah, it was really fun to see. And yeah, man. But and then obviously the big one was that Seamus said was the fact that Henry Cavill showed up to play a version of Wolverine. And this was according to Wade the more badass Wolverine. And it's funny because Henry Cavill is way bigger than Hugh Jackman, which is clearly the fact. But I was literally looking at this, I was like, holy fucking shit, that's Henry Cavill. Holy shit, this is why he went into this is why he had those meetings with Kevin Feige that were rumored. Oh shit, like he looks amazing as Wolverine.
Meanwhile, my ass, who can't recognize actors, had to wait for them to say who it was.
That's great. Listen, my brother was the same way, where he was like, I don't know who that is, and then he turned around and he's like, oh wait, that's the guy who plays Superman.
I literally was like,
listen,
I'm surprised that people didn't know. I was like, that's fucking Henry Cavill. You know who Henry Cavill looks like.
Listen, Rebecca. We know Mikey's a Snyder cut head. Okay, we understand why he knows what. We know why he knows why Henry Cavill, but like what he looks like from the back. We know it's because Mikey's just so into the Snyder cut.
If he had the suit or the shitty Witcher wig, I would have recognized.
Yeah, if he had the Witcher wig and was saying "fuck," I would be like, "Oh, there he is."
I didn't know who he was until he turned around, but it was just
No, Mikey, you knew how he looked from the back. You got it.
I'm not tolerating this joke from you.
No. You watch that bathtub scene from Batman v Superman a lot. I know you do.
Yeah, we all know you like a big guy.
Oh man. But he looked dope, and the fact what Seamus we talked about yesterday, but the fact he reloaded the fist to get the claws out was awesome. It was sick as fuck. And then they used that reference. But yeah, so that's pretty much all I got with the Wolverine montage. It was dope.
Yeah.
Overall, it was dope. It was a really fun scene. And yeah, man, I think my favorite one was seeing him I think it ties between Age of Apocalypse and the John Byrne suit. I thought he looked amazing in both. So. But yeah, man. All right. So, any more thoughts on the Wolverine shit?
I'm good.
Nada. All right. So yeah, now we're gonna get into more of the of the Void stuff. So obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine do most of their time in like the second act of the movie, towards the third act of the film in the Void, which was in Loki, season 1, episode 5, which we clearly had to highlight, which I thought was hilarious. And obviously, Elias is there, doing what Elias does, eating, all the variants that don't belong, and that was really cool. And so now we're gonna get into more of the fun cameos, and the first ones that we got on the list were the forgotten Fox X-Men villains that showed up. Then we had Sabretooth, Pyro, Toad, and then the stand-ins for Juggernaut, Azazel, Lady Deathstrike, and Psylocke. And there were a couple more that I saw. I think Calypso was in there, who was like they really made into a monster in X-Men: The Last Stand. But yeah, I love the fact that it was I'm gonna look up the actors' names real quick just to be sure, but I love the fact that it was the actual actors who played Sabretooth and Pyro, that they were like the only ones willing to come back. But that was great. I was telling my boy when we were watching the movie, I'm like, yo, like Tyler Mane, who plays Sabretooth, I'm like, he literally hasn't played Sabretooth in like 24 years. That is insane. And he looks great. Even though he like died like within like 5 seconds, I thought was kind of ass, not gonna lie. Like at least let them fight for like a minute and then
I thought it was fine because they gave you the face off and then it was like, do you really care about this? No. You know what I mean? Like if it was Leaf Schreiber, Sabretooth, I'd be a little more like, whoa. But it was kind of main Sabretooth, and I'm like, hey man, I'm sure you do a good job playing Sabretooth, but even in X1, you were only in it for like a minute.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm trying to find this boy's name, man. But yeah, old boy playing Pyro, and I thought that he kind of had like an actual role in the movie, which I was surprised by. I was like,
it was funny that it was like, oh, Pyro's doing shit. Actually, hold on.
Yeah,
wait,
I was like,
wait. This character's here for more than just to show up and show his face. Interesting.
Exactly. And yeah, I was like, yeah, you're doing good for him. Good for that, because last time we saw Pyro, fucking Iceman whooped his ass, and I was like, yes, that's a good way to end Pyro's character. But see him come back again, in his comic accurate suit. I was like, that's pretty hard. I thought it was really fun. And I thought it was, and obviously, like when we were like talking about like Deadpool Wolverine, when we did the reactions and we're kind of theorizing, I was hoping that like maybe they would have gotten at least some of the actors, to come back to play their characters, but again, that would have been too expensive, and they didn't want to they didn't want to pay people, so they just got stand-ins for them. Another stand-ins were fine.
It's crazy they won't pay for that, but they will give Robert Downey Jr. and the Russos like $200 million.
I mean, it works for people like me who can't tell the difference anyway.
Listen, I don't need them paying for fucking the guy who played Juggernaut to come back.
Fucking Vinny Jones.
I don't think we need him unless he was gonna say I'm the Juggernaut bitch again. Unless he said that again, I'd be like,
he didn't say that here. I'm pissed he didn't say that here. I was like,
I'm fine he didn't say it because the guy wasn't even the original guy who said the line. And it would have been weird because he probably isn't even as British as what's his name. So you wouldn't have heard, I'm the Juggernaut.
I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I'm like, I would have much rather them just spend money on bringing actual X-Men back, but they didn't even want to do that. So
you could have at least, like, out of all the actors that are on here, like, you could have at least afforded to get Ray Park. He's not doing shit right now. So like come on, like, it's just like,
yeah.
But you know me, man. I would have killed a man just to see Kelly Hu again as Lady Deathstrike because I love Kelly Hu. but obviously, like, I mean, Ian Fleming, was it Jason Fleming as Azazel? I mean, obviously that's fine not seeing him back. But the guy who they got looked a lot like him anyway. And then I think
it is like a big red dude in makeup. So Jason Fleming probably was like, dude, you don't gotta get me. I'm fine.
You don't need me to come back. And obviously, like, Olivia Munn, like physically can't right now because, I mean, she's going through a lot right now, because she has cancer at the moment, unfortunately. So, but seeing the Fox X-Men characters, even though most of them, like, only 2 of them actually showed up, and then the rest were like, stand-ins, it was still fun. I still thought it was cool. Pyro didn't need that much screen time, but again, I'm happy that he did. Good for the actor. Good for that guy. So obviously, we're kind of done with this clearly. The next one was the next little cameo, which again surprised me. We see our boy Chris Evans show up, and my dumbass was like, "Oh my god, it's Captain America!" Like how Deadpool was like, "Oh my god, it's Captain America," because he said he was expressing his love for Captain America when he was at the TVA. But nah, this man decided, to come back as your boy Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, bro, from the Tim Story Fantastic Four movies. I lost it because I literally was like, look at him flame on just for that one last time, man. And he still looks great, and he was just extra New York for no reason. And I thought it was a lot of fun. And he was more. I mean, he didn't have more of an action role. I mean, he had one incident where he flamed on, and then he got shorthanded by Pyro, which I was like, that makes no sense because Human Torch is he constantly generates fire, and he can go supernova for God's sake. That makes no sense that Pyro can just absorb it. That's so whack. But
do we really believe Tim's story Human Torch can do that? Because I don't.
I'd like to believe that he can, but I have faith in him.
No.
But such a pessimist. But
I mean, you look at those movies. If he was able to go supernova, he would have beaten Silver Surfer in that first fight. That's all I'm saying.
Okay,
Seamus was hoping for Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, Michael B. You want to talk about someone who could go supernova? You bring me Michael B. Jordan. I believe that.
Jordan, I was honestly hoping that we would see some of the Fantastic ones just to
have Michael B. Jordan. There's no fucking way.
At least you never see that relationship with Michael B. Jordan. He's been in the MCU before, so
I know. And if you ask Michael B. Jordan to come back as Johnny Storm, he'd tell you to fuck off and say, "Why don't I just be Killmonger instead?" Fuck it. Yeah, he's like, I'd much rather just cameo as that. But I like Johnny Storm coming back. I knew as soon as I saw Chris Evans, I'm like, fucking A, they're doing the Soups tweet. That fucking Soups tweet from 2021 where he said this was going to happen. And they did it. And I was so disappointed that's how they set it up because I'm like, I don't want Soups to have any satisfaction of his tweets making it into Marvel movies. But I did like Chris Evans coming back as Johnny, even though it was for 5 minutes. I was like, that's perfect length. I don't need him for any more than that.
Yeah, to see him flame on again, and then Deadpool being like, oh yeah, we don't have enough budget to have him to stay flamed on. So that was really funny. Him just him come with the humor with the jokes. I think he was so funny, especially what Rebecca said earlier when he was talking he was talking all that shit about Cassandra Nova, and then it was revealed that he did. That was hilarious. Him getting skinned alive within literally a blink of an eye was a wild death. I was like, damn, bro. And that kind of was a good show off to show off how powerful Cassandra Nova is. I was like, damn, man, they didn't have to do my boy like that. Come on now. I was like, damn, son. But overall, man, I thought it was a lot of fun. It was very nice to see, Chris Evans, not be Captain America for a change. And yeah. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very fun.
I'm with you, Mikey.
What was that, Rebecca? Sorry?
I said I'm with you on that.
Yeah. It's just, and I'm happy that he also stated that he doesn't have an interest of coming back as Cap at all. So, yeah, Robert Downey Jr., take notes.
I know Chris Evans is fucking lying. I know that fucker's lying. Yeah, I already know he's like, I have no interest at all. And in fucking a year and a half, I'm going to see him in the suit again being like, Avengers Assemble. And I'm going to be like, you fucking lying sack of shit. I fucking knew it.
Well, when they dangle $80 million in front of you,
yeah,
you no.
when they dangle the small the GDP of a small nation in front of you, you'll be like, well, maybe I'll say it once.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I also just remembered I also like the fact that some of the mutants that showed up, the Fox mutants. One of them, I think Toad was the one riding in the Fantastic Car from Rise of the Silver Surfer. That was hilarious. I was like, that's so funny.
I like that.
Yeah.
Were you expecting they could have afforded Ian Griffin? He's not doing shit. They could afford it.
I was looking for Jessica Alba personally.
Oh my god, it'd been amazing if they got Jessica Alba.
Nah, you know for a fact I was pulling for Michael Chiklis.
Michael Chiklis?
Let's be real. Michael Chiklis was the most spot on casting in those movies.
even when I said like when they were gonna do the new Fantastic Four like for the MCU, I was like, just bring him back. Like I thought it was great as a thing, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wish I mean, they mentioned Reed, and I was like, I wish we could have seen the rest of them, but it's okay. But yeah, so I'm done. I'm good. Love Johnny Storm, Chris Evans. We love you. That's all we just love Chris Evans, and that's it. All right, so now this is the best part. Actually, this is what I'm like. I have to talk about this shit now. But yeah, so so that was the Johnny mentioned a resistance that was going against Cassandra Nova. So there's that. So this is where this is when I was like, you know what, they wrote this part of the movie for me. They knew, hey, Mikey's gonna be watching this, and we're gonna give the boy what he wants because he deserves it in the end of the day. And so it was revealed that the resistance that ends up taking in Deadpool and Wolverine is composed of the goats. And it's funny, like that's how like these leaks be crazy, because I snagged a picture off of Google, and it's like kind of wild like that. Like I was able to grab this. Disney, don't get mad at us. But the resistance is composed of Elektra, played by Jennifer Garner, Gambit, who played by Channing Tatum, X-23, played by Dafne Keen, reprising a role back, and none other than my boy, my guy, my Lord and Savior in Christ, Blade, played by Wesley fucking Snipes. Lord,
you don't got to be doing flips on it, man. Come on, go.
Yo.
This is the only Blade he's gonna get for the next 10 years.
I know. He's getting drip free Blade. He's getting Blood Hunt right now, and he's set for life.
This has been the best year to be a Blade fan. Okay, I'm telling you. Like, listen, this made up for me. I'm good. I'm good. Not seeing Mahershala Ali after this. I think I'm good. But listen, man. So off rip, this was one of my favorite parts of the movie for me. Clearly, just to see, because obviously it was rumored that Jennifer Garner was going to become. I think it was rumored or confirmed that Jennifer Garner was going to show up, and I forgot about it. Honestly, to be honest with you. And we covered that part on the podcast like a while back. Seeing her back as Elektra was great. And she looked great. Like, because I was like, yeah, it's been a long time. Like, I don't know if she's gonna be looking like the same she looked before, but no, she was looking like a muscle mom. You know what I mean? She was looking dope. And bro, that Ben Affleck Daredevil joke where he's like, oh, where Daredevil died, and she was like, and he's like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, oh, it's fine. I was like, man, y'all are really talking about them jokes about that divorce. Damn, son. Hella cold. And that was hilarious. So yeah, Elektra I thought was great. Dafne Keen coming back as X-23. Again, I love seeing Dafne Keen. Especially after watching The Acolyte and seeing her, all grown up and seeing her doing action and stuff like that. I really enjoyed. And again, she did have that little sentimental moment that we mentioned before, which kind of was like, that was nice to have it for Logan's arc. It was great seeing her as always, and seeing her with the glasses on and the backpack from Logan. That was really great. Yeah, man, your boy Channing Tatum finally was able to get his moment. You know what I mean? And it did not disappoint at all. I thought him as Remy was so much fun. That Cajun accent was so bad, but like I think it worked so well with this version of the character. I thought it was so fun. His action scenes were some of the best we got out of almost all of them. And besides Blade, I thought his action was chef's kiss. The VFX, oh my god. But yeah, to see him come through with the cards, being like, my name is Remy LeBeau, Le Diable Blanc, but they call me the Gambit. And I was like, and then he was like, huh? Like, who's your dialect coach? Why are you like, what? Like, stop! Why are you talking like that? It was so funny. Like the old dad, the whole him being ready, coming out of his dad's balls, hilarious.
That one got me.
He was having fun, man. He was having fun. And yeah, like for people that don't know, he was supposed to be Gambit during the Fox universe. Literally, like it was a huge thing. I remember that photo that they had, Seamus, where they had it was Wolverine, it was for Logan, and then they had the Fan Forstic cast, and then some of the X-Men cast, and then him as Gambit wearing his T-shirt, and then they axed it the moment the merger happened, and it was just. But I was very happy to see that like Channing Tatum got to do his dream like superhero role, and I was like, good for him, and he's and I thought he was killing it. for what it's worth. You know, I thought it was a lot. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, man, you know, seeing Wesley as Blade again, man, and I try not to cry because it's just like, you know, I was telling Seamus and I was telling shout out to Kayla because I was talking with her about it earlier today. When I unfortunately knew that he was going to be coming back as Blade because I follow Wesley Snipes on IG. The one when they had the panel on Thursday for San Diego Comic-Con, he posted about it and I saw it immediately and I was like, fuck. And then I saw a Entertainment Weekly article confirming that and I was like, damn it, Wesley, you couldn't just wait after the weekend. Like, come on. Like, damn it. But it did not change the fact that the moment when I saw this man come behind Elektra, like this come out from the shadows behind Elektra, Rebecca, Seamus knows, I told him, I literally screamed in my theater. I was literally like, oh! And then just like, I had to close my mouth and I had to apologize to everyone around me because this is what I needed. You know what I mean? I was worried and as well because obviously this man is 62 years old. He's been getting a lot thinner because he's been aging. So I was like, I don't know how he's gonna, you know, if he's gonna be able to physically be Blade again. But after watching an interview that earlier today, and then obviously watching him in the role, it's like this man is in his 60s, but was fighting like he was back in the 90s. I was very impressed to see him do the action, have the swag again. And he did get back in shape to be Blade again, and he only did it within a month. He only had a month to do it, and it not disappoint him saying the line, dude. He said the fucking line where he was like, "Some motherfuckers still trying to ice skate uphill." I told my boy, I was like, "You can't tell right now, but I'm crying. Like I'm literally like in tears because I'm happy that he gets to have his last hurrah as the character, and I love that." Yeah, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna let y'all talk. What are y'all thoughts on this team on the Resistance? Know what I mean?
I know they joked about this, but I need to know exactly what the threshold was to make Wesley Snipes overcome his beef with Ryan Reynolds.
And that's the thing too. When I saw when he did an interview for it, and they also acknowledged that they made that joke in the thing where he's like, "I don't like you." Wesley was like, when he got the call to come back from Ryan Reynolds to like, hey, like we had this idea for you to come back as Blade, like, are you interested in him? And he was like, and when he said in the interview, why the fuck you calling me? You know I don't like you. And he was just like, and it was like, guys, that's a joke. Like it's a joke we've been doing for 20 years. We actually really have a really good relationship and we love each other. So I was like, that's dope. But in reality, they don't hate each other. They actually are cool, even though that whole Blade Trinity thing on set was kind of wild. But yeah, nah. So there is no beef, Rebecca. There's no beef at all. They have been cool. They've been duping us for 20 years. All right. So yeah.
I don't know if I believe that. I'm choosing not to.
Listen, man, he's in his 60s. What does he have to lose? Nah, I mean, so yeah. But yeah, continue. What go into people? What talk to me. I know Seamus has stuff to say on that. Come on, huh?
I think Blade's mid. It's a mid character. I think Blade shouldn't have actually been in the movie. He actually took away from the movie a lot, you know.
You want me to kick your ass off the stream, huh? Like you're really pushing it.
No, I like Blade a lot. I like Gambit probably the most. I think Gambit was probably the most.
Was so fun. I don't want to admit it, but like I think Gambit, like they gave him a lot of stuff to work with.
Dude, so I can't believe they had Blade yell the R word full chest in this movie too. I thought that was fucking insane, and I was like, well, yeah, I guess he is from the '90s, so it makes sense.
He's still in the '90s, man.
I was like, yeah, it makes sense. But I was like, and I love Deadpool's like retired. Like he's like, why would you even think that it was the other one? That was probably the joke that hit most for me, purely from just the shock to immediately Deadpool going like, "Why the fuck would you think it was that?"
It was that, and then the one joke when like they go on to do the assault in Pym Falls. I forgot to mention that Cassandra Mova's base is in a corpse of Hank Pym of Scott Lang. Sorry, and I'm just like that was hard. But when this man was like, oh, like there's only one Blade, and Deadpool looks at the fucking camera, and I'm just like, I can't believe fucking Feige approved this, knowing that they're in the they're in development hell with Blade because they can't get the character right, and Rehearsal's been waiting for 5 years to be the character, and y'all have been screwing him over. Now it's like,
yeah, that is kind of like the depressing aspect of these like fourth wall breaking cameos, is that it seems like they always come out with a lot of jokes that are poking fun at the studio, but then you're also like, dude, you guys have the power to actually change this shit. Why do you keep joking about it instead of like just changing it? You know, that is kind of my issue with some of those jokes, but I thought it was funny overall.
Mhm.
Like I said, I like Blade. I love Wesley coming back. He had some great little action scenes in that assault scene.
Listen, man, he was using. Granted, one of my gripes, of course, as a Blade fan, I got a nitpick. He didn't have the sword, and I was like, he needs the sword, man. That's like, but he was still killing it with the machete though. And also, like, I wish he had the jacket, but I thought him not having like just the body. I thought the whole body armor look, which again is more kind of more in like, you know, the I guess not like the Jason Aaron new Avengers run where he had the full on body armor. I thought was hard. I thought that still looked good. I
like how they kept mentioning that they keep getting Punishers and they keep immediately dying because they keep trying to assault the place on their own.
Yeah,
like they're like, yeah, we've gotten like 3 of them, and they keep trying to fucking go at it, and they just leave all their weapons, so we just have a stockpile. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Real quick,
yeah, I like Jennifer Garner, even though she was only like, oh my god, that's Blade.
Yeah, it's Blade. Blade is with us
Holy
right
shit,
now.
Mr. Brooks is in chat.
Holy shit, bro! Yeah, shout out to Mr. Brooks again as usual, who's again one of the biggest Blade fans I know, besides me. So, shout out to him.
I was gonna say Jennifer Gardner did, like, she looked good. She was fine. I thought she just didn't have as much to do as Blade or Gambit did.
Like, I mean that Ben Affleck joke was like the most out of pocket thing that she did in the movie.
That was like almost what she was there for, is just to be like, yep, here it is. And then and I get it because her franchise isn't nearly as remembered or even beloved as Blade was, or even Gambit's or even Channing Tatum's Gambit would have been if it released. But I understand why, but it is just a little like, oh, that sucks.
And also, unfortunately, I feel like she didn't really I know that like, she was a part of the battle, but like we didn't really get to see like, you know, like her moves were very shaky and like had a lot of shaky cam, and you could barely see what was going on.
Yeah,
that's
like a big general issue I had with this movie with Shawn Levy directing, is that he just doesn't know how to film action for the life of him. Like, he would be cutting mid, like there would be a sequence of hits, and he'd, instead of having like a 1, 2, 3, 4, it would be like a 1, 2, 3, and then cut halfway through the 4th move. And I'd be like, why are we cutting there? Like, why? Like, finish the sequence and then cut. Don't do like a weird, like, I've done 3.5 moves and now I'm cutting in the middle of the 4th one. Like, and I think that was my issue with this movie, is that even though a lot of the action seemed like it was good, a lot of times it wasn't filmed maybe in the best way. You know what I mean? And like,
it bothered me because like Dafne Keen, I feel like X-23 and Elektra were stunted like the most out of that entire action scene. And the thing is, it sucks because like Dafne Keen has said in multiple interviews, ever since they act like that, like she's been really getting into like stunt training and like, you know, choreography. Yeah, I want to see that shit.
Yeah,
as well as and like Jennifer Garner, when she came back to do the stunt to train for this, like that, Dafne Keen was with her, and she was nervous that she wouldn't be able to do this whole side moves again. But the moment she grabbed one, she picked it up like it was like time didn't pass at all, and it was like, I wish I would have saw more of that, like, you know.
And like Gambit's whole scene, like using that it's like the speed up, the fast forward effect they were using during Gambit's like scenes, I was like, this seems so cheap. Why would you film it like that? You know what I mean? I didn't understand it. And like I didn't understand a lot of the cuts they did during the action, and it permeated throughout the entire movie. I think the only scene that it didn't hit was the car fight with Wolverine and Deadpool, and I think that's why that ends up being the best fight, because it's the one that I have the least issues with in terms of how it was shot. But I did like everyone's cameo. I just wish maybe their fights were filmed a little better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And real quick, Mr. Brooks said he had a lot of fun watching the movie. He was tempted to see it again and definitely gonna get it on Blu-ray. Yeah, that's what's up, Mr. Brooks. But the thing is, right? Like, I did like the angle that they took with these cameo characters, especially like not really X-23. I guess it didn't really matter as much, but like with Gambit and Elektra and Blade, where it was like they wanted to get a proper ending for their characters, which for their arcs, because again, like Blade was saying that like, yeah, like the TVA just snatched me up. I didn't get a chance to like fight for my world. No, I mean they just said it wasn't worth it. So like I really did like the fact that it was like they wanted to get a proper ending for their characters, which is kind of meta because they, in a way, well, with Blade, with Blade, it was more of like, yeah, Blade, the last send off of Blade wasn't really the best. Elektra had her own, was in Daredevil and was all right, and then had her own movie, which wasn't the best, and then didn't even a chance to be Gambit. No, I mean, so I didn't like that they kind of like used that angle to justify like, yeah, this was the actual motivation for their characters to juxtapose what actually happened to these characters, franchises in real life. I thought that was really cool. I thought that was really cool detail to add with that. It didn't really work with X-23 because again, like she was just, I think her arc ended where it was supposed to end. Know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
the one thing I would have liked to see with these guys is they mentioned at the end that Deadpool's like, oh, can you help my friends, like get them a good ending too? And then you only see Laura at the end. I would have liked to see just like a quick little shot of them back in like their own worlds, like happy,
I would have laughed to see if they just joined them in the family in the dinner scene.
That would have worked too.
That's what I thought was gonna happen, and I was like, damn, we're not gonna see it, shit. But yeah, man. Overall, I mean, even though like again, like this movie, this movie is like a 7 for me. But like just the fact that I got two of my favorite characters of all time played by one of my favorite actors of all time, as well as Channing Tatum reprising the role, getting the role he deserved. This movie's a 50 out of 10 for me. After that, I don't give a fuck what anyone says. But yeah, any more thoughts on the Dream Team here? On the Dream Team.
Didn't you just last podcast deny being an MCU shill, and now you're back out here calling this movie a 50 out of 10? You're not beating the allegations, Mikey.
They gave me Wesley as Blade. I don't care. All right,
dude. They turned
that Blade hide all the way to Secret Wars.
That's what I'm saying. Do you think Wesley Snipes' Blade outweighs RDJ Doom? We're power scaling casting now.
Power scaling casting. I mean, Wesley Snipes' Blade. That's all I'm gonna say.
Deafening.
And forget what's it called. The Channing Tatum was like, what do you do? Like, what the hell do you do again? He's like, I charge the cars and I make them go boom. Like, come on, it's stupid, it's fun. All right, well, so that's all we gotta say on that. Move on to the next, I guess, cameos, but the characters that we saw towards the end, and this is gonna be the last batch of cameos. But the Deadpool Corps that showed up, and which that scene was, I thought it was all right. I mean, it was really cool though, because like I was having fun picking out all the different Deadpools that I could see. But obviously we got people that don't know the Deadpool Corps in the comics, which I actually do love. I really do like the Deadpool Corps in the comics a lot. But we got the Pinnacle roster. We got Lady Deadpool, who was secretly voiced by Blake Lively, which I thought was really cool. And looked great. Kidpool, Dogpool, who was different, who's changed in this version of the in the movie. But I think what was it? Maggie, what do they call it? Mary Poppins was the name that they gave the dog. What they gave Dogpool in this movie. And then also Headpool. So what are your thoughts on those four? I just want to say real quick, the dog they got for Dogpool was, I never thought I would see a dog that was so ugly but yet so adorable at the same time. I thought I thought that dog was great. I thought it was so cute. Again, but so ugly. Like, it was just with the tongue, man.
I thought that I mean, listen, me personally, I thought everything with Dogpool and Nicepool was like the dumbest part of the movie. I was like, I feel like my time's being wasted on something that they think is hilarious, but I'm like, this is like the least funny thing I've ever seen in my life. This feels like a 40-year-old mom sending me Facebook memes about dogs. I'm like, come on. This is not the time and place to be doing a bit about an ugly dog. You know what I mean? Or like Ryan Reynolds' nice twin brother that he made up for an ad 5 years ago playing nice pool. Like I was like, this is just so stupid. But
Yeah.
I did like everything else about the Deadpool Corps, like Lady Deadpool and like Matthew McConaughey voicing Cowboy Pool, or like Nathan
That was
Fillion
Matthew
voicing.
McConaughey? Oh shit.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
and Nathan Fillion voicing Headpool from Marvel Zombies. I was like, yeah, get these guys in. That's
I
fun.
didn't even know
You
that
know,
was Nathan Fillion. What the fuck? Okay, I didn't know that. Shit. That's
you
really
got to be
fun.
on the game. You got to get on the ball.
Didn't watch the credits.
You're too busy looking at Blade.
Listen, man, he said the line, bro. He said the line. But from going off all the other Deadpools that I did see. Oh, also I would agree with you, Seamus. I didn't like Nice Pool at all. I thought he was a waste of time, and I was like, like why do we need him here? Like it's just
Yeah,
like,
it wasn't even funny. It wasn't even funny when Deadpool did the bit where he killed him, because I was like, all right, yeah, that's what I thought was gonna happen. Not really like a funny payoff. It just seemed like a very stupid Shawn Levy joke that he had. It seems like a joke that he would have had in Free Guy. You know what I mean? That I'm like, all right, dude, this is exactly what I hate about your kind of movies, you know?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, but from what I did see, there was a lot of Deadpools. I mean, Seamus already mentioned some of them, but my favorite one that I saw was one of my favorite versions of Deadpool is Zenpool. I freaked out. I was like, it's fucking Zenpool. Why wasn't Zenpool just the nice pool replacement? Just do him, because he's a cooler character. Yeah. There's Zenpool, Cowboy Deadpool, now played by Matthew McConaughey, which is awesome. Baby Deadpool, Deadpool 2099, which I was like they got the look for her perfectly. I was like, wow, that's crazy.
That's cool.
That's such a deep cut. And then 5 Ronin Deadpool was the samurai Deadpool. But also like didn't they have like a Drexum Deadpool?
They did. They had a Welsh Deadpool.
Yeah.
Who was played by one of the Wrexham players.
Which is hilarious.
I'm surprised there wasn't any Gwenpool, honestly.
Yeah, I'm surprised there was no Gwenpool. Because one of my favorite, obviously, was like I love Deadpool Illustrated. Like I love that like saga that saga they did in the comics. I was very like surprised that like I was hoping to see Pandapool, because Pandapool is apparently the strongest Deadpool out of them all. And,
yeah.
And again, I guess they couldn't afford it. Pandapool. I wish we got Pandapool. But also like there was like these few Deadpools that we got, like the notable ones, and like they were just random, like just regular, like just normal looking Deadpools that were like I wish like they could have been a little more creative with some of them, but like even make up some ones. I mean, there was like a Scottish one with like that had like bagpipes and shit that I saw, and I was like, huh, that's interesting. But yeah, overall, like the Deadpool Corps was all right. But I did really enjoy picking out, the different Deadpools and stuff that we did see that were notable. But yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say on the Deadpool Corps. I want to cosplay Zenpool. That's how much I like Zenpool. Zenpool's awesome. Like it's just like I wish Zenpool stuck around more in the comics, but obviously like 666 was the thing that happened. So yeah,
I do like how I will agree. It is absolutely hilarious that event happened almost like 15 years ago, and everyone is still so married to still calling it sixes because that's how stupid the fucking font was for it.
Not just it was just whoever was the graphic designer for it was an idiot.
Yeah.
Like,
I swear to God, I've even heard comic creators be like, "Yeah, when sixes came out," and I'm like, "Yo, there's no way."
I'm actually curious though. Was there a version of Deadpool that you wish you did see that you were like, "Oh, I wish they did this"? The Deadpool Corps that we didn't see.
I wish we got Nolan North Deadpool.
That would have been great. That would
from Marvel Capcom 3.
And I would have loved to have Nolan North Deadpool, but he looks more like the Deadpool from like Cable and Deadpool with like the teleporter on his chest and shit. Like, like that would be really cool if they did that. But they did not. Yeah, I'm surprised that Nolan North didn't get a cameo. What was he Headpool, you said, or was that Nathan Fillion, you said?
That was Nathan Fillion.
That's whack. That should have been Nolan North. Yeah, Nolan North should have had a cameo because again, his Deadpool was our Deadpool before Ryan Reynolds got there. Know what I mean? Like voice wise. So that sucks. Yeah, Rebecca, do you have you probably don't, but I'm just gonna ask you a question anyway. Do you have a Deadpool that you wish you would have saw that we didn't get?
No, honestly, I felt like all the Deadpools that weren't the main Deadpool didn't really need to be there. Like the fight was okay, but they didn't really do anything for me other than, like you said, looking and being like, "Oh, it's that Deadpool," you know.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say on that, and that's gonna be the last bit of the cameo section, people. That's pretty much it. Yeah, so now we're gonna get into the theory stuff, and I only really have like two things because there, when the movie ended, they didn't really do. It wasn't really something crazy, you know, with the post credits and all that. But yeah, so the theory section that we got. The big thing for me with the theory section was which honestly it tied into like the ending where Deadpool saving his universe, obviously his version of the Fox universe, and him just saving his universe and going back to like normal Deadpool stuff. Like he didn't end up being in the MCU after all, but mostly in terms of like after watching the whole movie and the cameos and obviously the credits I really enjoyed. But this movie is pretty much like pretty much a send off to the Fox universe, the Fox Marvel universe, and yeah, I really like and and then that montage with showing the behind the scenes of the various movies that we've gotten in the Fox universe over the past almost like near 20 years. I was like, yeah, like this movie is pretty much a goodbye to that universe because that was for at least for our people our age and older growing up like that was our Marvel universe was the Fox universe, and like it had its ups, its downs, its highs, its lows, its good movies and its shitty movies, but that was our shit. I mean that was what we had, and it was kind of cathartic to be like, yeah, like this is it for it, and and that kind of cemented that with the ending of the movie when they go back to their universes and they have that little dinner with Wolverine and Laura and Laura showing up, and yeah, but what are your thoughts on that part of on that, like I guess part of the ending, guys?
I thought the send off was sweet. I kind of hope we don't get any Deadpool after this for a while. I feel like the way they closed the book was good, and I'm satisfied with the ending and the goodbye we got here.
Seamus?
I thought it was silly, some of the montage bits to be eulogizing shit that I absolutely despised and try to make me go, aw. Like, no, I'm not going to sit there and go, aw, over Fan 4-Stick or X-Men Origins Wolverine. Fuck you for trying to make me feel nostalgic about shit I saw when I was 10 and went, this shit sucks. Like, no, I'm not gonna feel fucking sad that it's like, oh, this Deadpool from X-Men Origins is that like it's gone. I'm like, no, fuck you. That sucked, man. So like, well, whenever they showed like any of the X1, X2, Days of Future Past behind the scenes, I was like, oh, I love those movies. And then it immediately cut to like Dark Phoenix. I was like, oh, get it away.
I don't think it was that bad.
Yeah.
I just think it's very silly to try to make something feel nostalgic for something that was so terrible. You know what I mean? For something that almost killed the franchise numerous times. So that's why I'm like, I like the montage, but maybe you could have omitted Fan 4-Stick. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, for me, it was more so the behind the scenes stuff. Like I just like to see the behind the scenes like reactions, like how they were back in the day when they were making movies, even if the movie was bad. I
know, but I'm saying even the behind the scenes. Listen, even the behind the scenes for Fan 4-Stick, everyone has said numerous times we were miserable, we hated it. Josh Trank was like, "Yeah, I was such in a state of like mental health decline that I was going insane on the set." So that's why I'm like, I don't need to see any behind the scenes of that movie because by all intents and purposes, all those people were like, "Yeah, we hated this."
Yeah, but I mean, I thought it was nice. It was a nice touch to add, though. Regardless, I thought it was nice. I thought it was nice that they even did it. They didn't have to do it, but they did it. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. Well, like, I enjoyed the goodbye. It was a nice goodbye. Seamus clearly hated it, but again, that is his opinion. Yeah. So
yeah. That's exactly what I said. Yeah. Go ahead, man. Speak. You know what? Just speak for me for the rest of this. Go ahead.
I'm just joking for the time, man.
Yeah. That banner's gonna get you stabbed when I see you next, brother.
Yeah, use your baby knife next time.
Yeah. Dude, I got my Wolverine claws right here. I swear to God. I swear to fucking God.
He's gonna turn on the camera just to get those out.
I will get on camera right now. I look sick as hell, but I'll get on camera with a fucking Wolverine claw right now.
Oh man. But yeah, that's pretty much it on that. And then the last thing I got before we move on. Oh, well, let me get this comment real quick. Yeah, it said Mr. Brooks said props for even remembering the director of Fantastic because that movie doesn't exist in my mind. Listen, Fantastic is trash. We all know it. But like,
listen, the only reason I remember Josh Trank is because Chronicle is such a good movie.
One of the best movies ever.
Michael B. Jordan's so good in it. Dane DeHaan's good in it. I can't fault that movie.
Yeah, no, Chronicle's like top 5 for me of all time. So it's yeah. But
how much behind the scenes footage do you think they had to cut because Bryan Singer's pedophile face was in like half of it?
Probably a lot. Probably a lot. But actually, I want to say this real quick because I was about to mention it when we're talking about Elektra. But like, honestly, low key, I was kind of hoping to see this Ben Affleck's like big ass in that crappy Daredevil costume again. Because that would be hilarious.
Yeah, I think a much funnier bit would have been to just start throwing Inhumans behind the scenes in there. I think that would have been hilarious if they just started being like Inhumans, and you're like, wait, what the fuck?
Oh man.
Or like random agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. behind the scenes. You know what I mean? Just to be like, wait, hold on, that wasn't in Fox.
Oh man, yeah. That would have been that
do like do behind the scenes of like Pennyworth.
Yeah.
Like just something stupid like that. I think that would have been good.
Put some welcome to Wrexham clips in there.
Yeah. Or just like random Always Sunny behind the scenes for no reason.
Oh man. But yeah, lastly, and we probably don't really have much to say on it because they didn't really go into it, which is why I appreciated why this movie was more self-contained. But like, what's the future of Deadpool at this point? Like, I mean, because he went back to his universe, and which means again, like he went back to universe and is probably gonna be happy there. But again, we did see that fun little cameo of Chris Hemsworth holding Wade Wilson's dying corpse. So like, I guess that's a sign that he's gonna maybe come back in Secret Wars, I guess, and we're gonna see him again. But he's not gonna get his own movie again, obviously. I think Ryan Reynolds did say that like, yeah, after this one, he's kind of done making Deadpool films. But he isn't, obviously he's open to coming back in the MCU as like a cameo or whatever or a guest appearance. But yeah, what was your any thoughts on just like Deadpool's like future at all in just the MCU or just in or just in movies in general? What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, like,
good on him not returning.
Yeah, like I assume he'll have like a bit in Secret Wars, and that's it. And then we'll be like, okay, see ya, Deadpool. And then there might be another one 10 years down the road where Ryan Reynolds is like, oh, I need to make money again.
Yeah, I thought this whole like bit with him and Thor was going to be like either an end credit scene or like a joke that paid off in this movie, not like any sort of setup.
Yeah, like now it's gonna be a joke that's gonna happen in 2027, and I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, I forgot that was a thing. And I guarantee you it's gonna be a bit where Deadpool gets mortally wounded in front of everyone and pretends like he's dying because no one knows he has like an insane healing factor. And then Thor's gonna be like, oh Deadpool, you sacrificed yourself, and Deadpool's gonna be like, oh my god, this is it, he gets to hold me, you know. And then he just heals, and then Thor's like, oh, you fucking lied to me. And that's going to be it. And I'm going to give like a half-hearted chuckle because I remembered it. And then I'm going to move on with that movie and have to stare at Robert Downey Jr.'s fucking face again. God damn it!
Yeah. Yeah, that pretty much sums up how we all feel about it. Yeah, I'm good not seeing him in another movie. I'm good not him having a movie again. I think the franchise is the perfect place to end it. To be honest with you, but I am open to. I'm open to like guest appearances and cameos and like other interviews. I know for a fact he's gonna come in Secret Wars. We all know that because they're trying to bring everybody in Secret Wars if they can afford to, but probably not because they're most of the budget's gonna go to Robert Downey Jr. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm gonna leave it. It was Ryan Reynolds. It was a solid run. It was a good run, and yeah. Thanks for being Deadpool for like for a solid amount of time. But yeah, no more thoughts before we close out with our final thoughts and our final verdict.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so yeah, people. Rebecca, Seamus, give me your final thoughts and your final verdict. What would you rate Deadpool and Wolverine out of 10?
Final thoughts. I feel like we've been complaining this whole time. I do think there's a lot to criticize this movie, but overall, I still had a lot of fun watching it, and I would say that I liked it more than I disliked it. So I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Mm-hmm. All right, Seamus?
Yeah, I'll probably give it like a 6. I might rewatch it if I feel like it, but probably not. This was, like I said, this is it for me for cameos. They're gonna have to start making good movies on top of these cameos for me to not feel like I'm getting stolen from. But like I said, I had fun. Most of the jokes hit. The action was fine at best, but yeah, I'd still recommend go see it.
Yeah. For me, I am more aware of the problems of the film now that I've actually watched it a second time. Overall, I thought this movie was, the plot and everything, it was solid, even though it's a lot of rehashing and it's fairly simple. But I had a lot of fun watching this film. Seeing Ryan Reynolds do his thing, see Hugh Jackman killed as Wolverine, and obviously some of the MCU tie-in stuff was really great. I really enjoyed it. They're just having fun, and obviously the cameos and that was some of the best parts of the movie. Yeah, I mean, I came out of it while I'm again distracted as all hell with it being an 8. But for me, I think it's just a solid. It's a 7. For me, I really had. I had a really fun time watching the movie. But again, I do recognize there are problems with it, and it's apparently MCU problems. So yeah. But yeah, man. But yeah, I got Blade. So again, 50 out of 10 just for Blade being in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get. But what Seamus says, and I think Rebecca would also agree. We do recommend you do see it. Of course, you will have a blast watching it.
Yeah.
And,
if you like the other Deadpool movies, it's more of the same, more or less.
It's more of the same, more or less. With a little bit more, a tad bit more fun sprinkles in there. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So thanks for everyone who will watch this or will watch this. We appreciate it. Thank you. Feel free to check out all our other content we've watched. Check out our San Diego Comic-Con recap that we just did on Monday, which was a lot of fun. Comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know when we drop new stuff. Let us know what are your thoughts. Did you enjoy it? Did you not enjoy it? What are your thoughts on Deadpool going forward? Is Blade the best part of the movie? Which again, he is. So there's that. Give us your thoughts in the comments down below. Again, check out all the After Darks we've done. Check out the comic book breakdowns. Check out the reactions, the interviews. There's gonna be more stuff on the way. Hopefully, we should want to get all the Deadpool and the Comic-Con stuff out the way because we really want to talk about this stuff. Expect Deadly Class coming back relatively soon. Expect some more interviews in the future because I'm planning those out accordingly, and that's gonna be hopefully they'll work out. And yeah, people, as always, we appreciate the support. Hopefully we'll We'll get some more subscribers. I want to be at 300 before the end of the year, because that would be nice. And that means we beat the Students of Shield podcast. But yeah, as always, get home safe. Thanks again for the support. We love y'all, and we'll catch y'all next time. All right, peace.